Greetings gentlemen and ladies, I am the old school game snob, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you a nice fairly budget magic finding lightning orb Sorceress. This character can clear out the pit very easily, the ancient tunnels, she can clear out Pindleskin and Eldritch, she can even clear the Chaos Sanctuary without too much trouble. This build has around 200% better chance of getting magic items, and it doesn't take away from her survivability hardly at all or her damage output. You can of course increase this a little bit. This is a fairly budget version of this build, and you can even add to it and improve on it with something like Geed's Charm, which this build does not actually include, but is a fairly easy addition. So the first item on this list, and I dare say perhaps the most important, is the Blade of Alibaba. This increases your magic find by 1% per character level. It also comes with 2 open sockets, so the more expensive version of this would see 2 Ist runes socketed in there for an additional 60% magic find. The Blade of Alibaba can be found on Diablo most commonly. You can also find it in Act 5 in the Frigid Highlands on Eldritch the Rectifier, also on Shank and Pindleskin, all in Nightmare difficulty. That's probably the best place to farm it, because in Nightmare difficulty it can drop, but also it has a better chance to drop than in Hell difficulty, because there's just more things that can drop in Hell difficulty and less things that can drop in Nightmare. So the Blade of Alibaba. Next up on this list, we have the Harlequin Crest, the Shaco, the legendary famous Shaco, socketed with a perfect topaz. This is great to tell skills, life, mana, and a 74% better chance of getting magic items. If you do not have a Shaco, you could substitute this for a 3 perfect topaz socketed helm. You'll suffer a little bit in terms of power level output, but it would still be feasible. These 2 items alone give us a fairly good magic finding percentage. I've also socketed Skin of the Viper Magi with a perfect topaz for an additional 24%. You could roll something like Chance Guards or some rare gloves with some additional magic find on them. You could also potentially find some boots with magic find. In my case, I do not have that. You could also find some rings and there's just a lot of ways to improve upon this already kind of base 200% magic find. You could potentially use gold wrap. All of those things would factor into this build and be fine, and they would not affect your clear speed or your survivability hardly at all. So those are all good options to boost up your magic find even more. I don't have those things yet, so I'm not showing them, but I probably would. That is basically it for the magic find component. As for the damage output, of course we have Skin of the Viper Magi. I also have a +3 to lightning skills amulet. You could also do a +2 caster amulet, or Talarashas, or Maras if you're lucky enough to find one. For rings, all I have is faster cast rate. The faster cast rate that you're aiming for is of course 78% to hit that faster cast rate breakpoint. And yeah, like I say, the gear is a little bit swappable, customizable. You can kind of change stuff around. Spirit Monarch Shield, of course, is very helpful. And then I basically just got some health and mana charms, and yeah, nothing really too fancy here. You do, of course, have the option of a Spirit Sword with your Monarch Shield, and then you can swap to your Blade of Alibaba and use something like Milibrega's, alright, I think I said that right, shield for an additional bonus to magic find. Of course, you have to get the timing right and kill the things in the right time. I usually just kind of leave it like that. Just keep it simple. Focus on clearing and not worry too much about the swap. But that is an option if you like to play that way. So I have actually talked about this build in a previous guide, but just to touch upon it briefly, I've maxed out Lightning Mastery, maxed out Chain Lightning, maxed out Lightning. I've also put a point into Energy Shield. This really helps you to stay alive. You would be surprised how much that 1 point in Energy Shield helps you to stay alive. Even if you're taking a ton of damage to your mana, it really actually just helps you to stay alive. So 1 point in Energy Shield. If you don't like that, you can leave that out. I've also put 1 into Static Field to help bring down bosses, and 1 point into Warmth just because of the extra value you get out of that. 1 point into Cold Mastery, and then 20 points into Frozen Orb, and actually just 1 point into Frozen Armor to help get that evasion rating up a bit, that defense rating up. So that's basically the skill layout. Alright, so let's jump into which runs are great for this character to magic find. The outer cloister will be the waypoint that leads you down to the pit. Now the pit is easy to find because you can just follow the road. The road will at some point fork, and one of the forks will lead you to the pit, and the other fork will lead you to the next area. So if you take the wrong fork, you just go back and you'll find the pit on the other fork. In the pit, there are lightning and cold immunes. That's okay, because we have lightning and we have cold damage. So between those two things, we're able to effectively deal with what comes at us. And what's really nice about this area is that most of the creatures here actually do not have a lot of hit points. They're not very tanky at all. So this character with chain lightning, as you can see, or regular lightning if you prefer, is able to quite quickly and effectively clear out the boss packs and the minion packs and the champion packs and all that sort of good stuff. There's of course also the classic route of Eldritch the Rectifier. This character takes out those cold immunes super easy with lightning bolt, basically off from off the screen, or lightning, or chain lightning rather. Eldritch has a good chance of dropping things, and then the waypoint is right there. We just head right on over to Pindleskin, and this character can take out Pindleskin also with very little trouble. There is the now and then rare occasion that Pindleskin will spawn with some ridiculous mods, and you got to watch out for those, but for the most part, yep, Pindleskin is no problem at all. As I mentioned, this character can farm from Chaos Sanctuary to some degree, but she can also farm River of Flame reasonably well. The River of Flame is also a level 85 area, so the champion packs and the elite packs can drop any item in the game. Depending on the configuration of the River of Flame, this could be a fairly fast clear. Also, it could be a little bit slower. Some of the creatures are a little bit more tanky and tough than others. And then of course the Chaos Sanctuary is also possible to farm with reasonable efficiency. The biggest trouble here is in keeping the poor mercenary alive. This character also does quite well with Mephisto. She teleports around quickly enough and is able to survive well enough to actually get to her destination, usually, mostly, for the most part. Those undead Stygian dolls, of course, being problematic. You don't want to stop for any number of milliseconds in Mephisto's Durance of Hate. Anyway, Mephisto is fairly easy to take out. Most of the time I can even keep the mercenary alive. A little bit of static field to get that HP down, a little bit of healing potion to help that mercenary stay up. Nope, not this time. No such luck. We go back to the Mephisto dance, the back and the fore, and the to and the fro, and the step and the right, to the left or right. Don't forget to check Mephisto's super chest in the back. Next on this list we have the Ancient Tunnels in the Lost City. This is a good spot, also a level 85 area where you can farm literally anything in the game. This character does reasonably well here. You will encounter nothing which is immune to cold. For the most part, there might be the rare elite that spawns with the cold immunity, but otherwise you have fire and you have poison immune, and otherwise, yeah, this character does quite well here. Anyway, that concludes this video. Hope you have liked it. Please subscribe for more Diablo content. Check out the rest of my channel for additional guides, and check out the links in the description below to join our Discord. And also there's some helpful Diablo 2 links, some cheat sheets and all that sort of good stuff down there. Check you later. All right.